Last time I did an experiment where I made my regular dough ball with King Arthur bread flour, and then I did the same recipe using, the only difference was that I used the Tipo 00 Italian flour. And what I learned was the Tipo 00 flour dough ball was a lot more stretchy and cohesive than the bread flour. Even when I was taking it out of the KitchenAid, the 00 dough ball would like stick to itself better than it would the bowl or the mixer or my hands. Now, when I made the pizzas, the one with the 00 flour was a little bit flatter than the one with the bread flour. The bread flour crust had a little bit more volume in the rim and in the crust. And also the color was a little bit lighter on the top of the crust with the 00 flour dough ball because the finer flour is more resistant to the heat. Now, I've read that some pizzerias in New York City will do a mixture of bread flour and 00 flour, 50-50 mixture. I don't know if they're doing that just as a selling point, to make it sound like they're more artistic, they're better artisans than the next guy, or if it actually makes a difference. So that's what we're doing today. Today I've got two dough balls. This one here is my regular base recipe with the bread flour, and this one here is a 50-50 mix of bread flour and the 00 flour. Okay, the oven's at 640 degrees. Okay, 640 degrees, we're good to go. I'm gonna make a pie and get it in and see what the difference is. Let's start with the base, my base recipe, the bread flour one. I made these dough balls last night. They were in the fridge for about 13, 14 hours. And then I took them out and they've been at room temperature rising for the past 2.5 hours or so. I've got the ingredients pre-measured. I've got 75 grams of tomato sauce, and 85 grams of cheese. And I'll put the recipe for these in the description. Okay, I'm gonna wait for about 4 minutes and we'll check back. Okay, it's been just over 4 minutes. It's looking really good. I'm gonna let it cook for about 30 more seconds. All right, that should be good. Okay, look at the bottom. Ooh, it's crispy. Hot. Okay, we're going to let the oven load, get it reheated again, and then I'm gonna make the other dough ball with the 50-50 mix of flour. Okay, here's the 50-50 mix. Last time, the dough ball that was made entirely out of the 00 flour was really stretchy. It was very noticeably more stretchy and strong than the one with bread flour. So I'm really curious about how this is going to work in the mixture. It does seem a little more stretchy. Yeah, it's definitely more stretchy. It just takes more time and effort to stretch it out than the red flour one. Yeah, I can really tell it's like stronger dough. It's 620 degrees. Let's wait for about 2 minutes to get closer to 630. I can't totally control the temperature of the oven, like I could a commercial oven. So sometimes it goes up to like 620 max, sometimes it goes to 640, 645 even. Let's just see what we get. Yeah, we're at 626 right now. That is close enough. So I'm going to put in the next one. I'm going to wait for 4 minutes and check back. All right, it has been 4 minutes. I'm going to just do a quick peek. It's looking really close to being done. Yeah, it's done. Bottom looks the same as the other one. However, this crust is a little more browned up top. Okay, I'm going to put the first one back in for just 1 minute exactly, just to heat it back up. So let's take a look. The disclaimer is that a home oven is not going to be perfectly consistent, right? So you'll see this is the one with the 00 flour mixture. The crust is a more golden brown than the one made with the bread flour. So the question is that a result of the 00 flour mixture, or is it just the way the oven was circulating heat at that particular moment? I'm going to guess it's actually the flour, because I haven't really seen this shade of golden brown before. Usually it's more light with some darker splotches on it. So that's interesting. Some people may really like that. I think it looks nice. The rims are both really airy. They're both, I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but they're both about the same size, the same puffiness. They're both quite airy. The underside they look similar, just a little bit crispy like it should be. This is just a result of a big air bubble. That's not anything to do with the flour. I'm going to cut them up and let's take a look. This is the bread flour one. It looks about like it normally does. It is a little more dense than usual. Well, let's just see how the other one looks. Interesting. So it looks like the mixture flour actually has larger air bubbles than the one with bread flour. Sometimes my bread flour ones look just like this, but maybe I think that the bread flour would look like this if it rised for a little bit longer. But these both rise for the exact same time. Big air bubbles. This side looks the same as the bread flour one. Pretty similar, maybe a tiny bit more airy on that rim. So this is the mixture flour. This is the red flour. Okay, the bread flour has a little bit stronger taste. The one with the mixture is a little bit more mild taste, a little bit sweeter. I don't know if you can say one's better than the other. They're just a little bit different. Interesting. So there's actually a pretty noticeable difference. I was kind of assuming that they would be nearly identical, but I can tell a difference for sure. They're both very good. The crust, like I said, a little bit sweeter with the mixture flour and a little more golden brown on the rim, and it was easier to mix. So honestly, I gotta say this is a better pizza with the mixture flour. I should have pointed this out earlier, but the shape on the mixture flour was a little bit bigger and a little more round because it was easier to shape. The one with the bread flour kind of kept snapping back into an imperfect circle. So interesting. Honestly, I mean, if you're going to make a great pizza, I would say the mixture of the bread flour and the 00 is the way to go. It's not a huge difference. I mean, this is still really good pizza over here. The 00 flour does cost 4 or 5 times as much money as bread flour, but if you don't care about that and you don't mind keeping the 00 flour on hand, I gotta say this is better. It's the way to go. Let's see. I'm looking at the rim. Oh, let's take a look at this real quick. If you look at the actual, not the rims, but like the main part of the pizza, the one with the mixture has larger air bubbles. Excuse me, has larger air bubbles and is a tiny bit thicker. Hmm. They're both really, really good. So, I mean, I would give this a 10 out of 10. This is like a 9.5 out of 10. If you want to go through the trouble of getting the 00 flour, making it perfect, that's what you got to do. But either way, it's really good. Thanks for watching. I really enjoy hearing your comments. Please leave your comments how it went. If you have any good pictures, post them if you can. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.